to give a key lecture. And then I already see the, what do you call it now? Possession. Right? So when I asked him in the lecture, I said, I actually knew the Vice Chancellor. Not because he was the last, because his attitude was very clear. He was able to permeate everybody. He was friendly to everybody. And later I was invited to speak to all the key staff of Boeing Industry, Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Head of Departments, and so on. And I told them that I got to know the Vice Chancellor leadership has a lot to do with influence. I've always believed that there are two kinds of people, maybe more, affluence. That is, influence what their worth is. Those who are influencing this will be positive. Life can be whether centripetal, me, or can be centrifugal, others. So leadership has a lot to do with somebody who influences people towards something that is great. Now, leadership is influence. So a leader influences at all levels. He influences one person. So your leadership is not when you have a crowd. No. I went there when I was and the way I related to people in need was different. Not meaning that I was standing for the chief justice of the federation. When I was a medical student, I traveled and I had to meet Bucket, who is only found the Bucket informer. And when I met Bucket, Bucket was just an ordinary person. There were no airs about him. So leadership is influencing one person. It is influencing those under you. It's influencing those beside you. It's influencing those above you. It's influencing everywhere. If you cannot influence the one person you see, it will not be useful to the many people you have to govern. Now, so there are different kinds of leadership. I won't go into it. Several. And then sometimes there's leadership mix, where you mix one and mix the other to form some good things. Now, there's a man who wrote a book called Jim Collins. I mean, it's one of the greatest books I've seen on leadership. And the book is called From Good to Great. So you were looking at companies that were not just good, but were great. And what they discovered was this. their research found out that prior to, in the years, if somebody wants to look for success, tell you, define your mission, define your vision. But they found out that a great company, before they deal with the why question or the what question. So to them, leadership is the person first before the mission. So this one is said in level 5 leadership, as contrasted from the level 4. In level 4, you say, where are we going? What is the issue? Then we now get a leader. Level 5, you say, who is the leader? Then it now takes people to where he wants to go. So you see everybody talking about, I have this vision. I want to be great. I want to be that. You know, that's our aspiration. But it's not what they want to be, it's who they are that determines greatness. And this is where research thing. Is research of several companies found that great companies move from asking what to finding who, the man, not the mission. So if you have a great thing to do, look for someone who is a leader, and then he will take you to your destination. The next one is E. Leaders envision. They want to see where you are going. You know, when I see somebody says, I'm a student, I said 20, 30 years. And there was a man called Mark Twain who wrote this. The 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. If you don't find out why you were born, there's a problem. Now, another man called Friedrich Nietzsche, he is a German philosopher. He said, he who has found a why to live for can bear almost any. That's it. That's it. Even if you go to the best institution in America, you are still in the world. As long as you are in the world, you are going to meet all the problems in the world. So going to another institution doesn't actually make you better, different. Then, leaders have this compelling vision. They want to change the world. They want the world to be different because they are broken. So leaders don't complain about the problem. They find their vision, they know where they are going. And you cannot set out on a mission without having a destination. They say a fanatic is a person who redoubles his effort when he has forgotten his aim. So you must define where you are going. Now, all this has to do with where are you going, what do you want out of life, who are you, and so on. So you come as a result of what you have done. So when there's a difficult circumstances, we get a leader to solve them. Ask, what do I want to become in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? The most pathetic person in the world is someone who has sight but has no vision. This man was virtually handicapped in all aspects, and yet she was one of the greatest human beings on earth. Because she was even blind, but she had a vision. Our Schweitzer was a physician who had got a degree in theology and also in music. And the man went to medical school after he was aged 30 because he was passionate to help people. Qualified in his mid-30s, and they went to a place called Lampane in Gabon to serve. And he died at the age of 92. He won a Nobel Prize. And he wrote, the most pathetic person in the world is someone who has sight but has no vision. The next is attitude. For a leader to be great, he has to have good attitude. Attitude simply means, attitude means there's a, all right, the central emphasis of, I'm sure there's some, all right, your attitude is your assessment of yourself, other people, ideas, and objects in the world. How is your attitude? Now, there are many types of attitude, but the most important types of attitude is negative and positive. Once you have a negative attitude, you are called pessimistic. Once you have a positive attitude, you are called optimistic. If a leader has a pessimistic attitude, he will actually affect the whole people. And if you have an optimistic attitude, it's gradually going to change the way people live. Now, another thing we find about leaders is the growth mentality. They don't believe that their talent is fixed. They don't believe their ability is fixed. They believe that they can make efforts. They believe that the failures are temporal. They believe that when they get a feedback, they move forward. They embrace challenge and change. And they see criticism as an opportunity to learn. Now, William James was a parapsychologist, professor of psychology, one of the greatest professors of psychology America has ever known. The man said, the greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering the attitude of their mind. Human beings can alter their mind, their lives, by altering the attitude of their minds. So put a person with a good attitude in a bad condition, it changes everything. And in a good condition, as long as a leader's attitude is wrong, he doesn't do it. Then the next thing is diligence. Now, leaders are always practicing. They are always working. I mean, I've been a professor for over 2 decades. But by 4 o'clock, I'm awake and I work so hard till 1 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes 7 o'clock, 7 hours working. Leaders never sit down. They keep working on diligence and diligence. Now, there's certainly, I'm a firm believer, this is what I mean, that greatness comes from practice, not from natural ability only. Sure, natural ability are good. Genesis helps you a lot, but it is not your deciding factor. Practice is throughout practice throughout history. We have seen a lot of naturally talented people who frizzle into mediocrity, but we have never seen a great man who get there without practice. Great people always work hard and practice a lot. You see, set you on the right place, but practice and training takes you to your destination. Now, there's a research that was, a body of research that came by a man called in Outliners, and they found out that for you to gain any degree of success in your place, you would have spent several hours working. Now, there's another woman who talked, Carol Dweck. He talked about what he called the growth mindset and also the fixed mindset. And our research has shown that if you are going to succeed in this life, you must always be improving. Even if you have one day on this earth, you must invest in improving and improving and improving. Now look at this particular thing here. It shows I'm an expert. It stops there. But then the man with the growth mindset said, I will still learn. And so it goes next level. So you see, the fixed mindset said, I can't. And the growth mindset says, I can. And keeps on moving and you do it. Leaders are leaders. So you can never see a leader who does not read. I read over 1,000 books outside this. I have 4 libraries, and they all filled with books. So you cannot see a leader who sits down and doesn't read, because empty heads will divide empty materials. Then emotional intelligence. People have been finding out of late that IQ, intelligent quotient, is good. It's good as a start, especially in technical things. But when it comes to leading, emotional intelligence is on top. And they talk about many other things like relational quotient, risk quotient, and adversity quotient. The truth about it is this: current mentorship programs focus on professional. You say, President, I'm a PhD, I'm a consultant, but because he doesn't have good emotional intelligence, he's not able to relate well with people, and he's not able to develop people well. Now, IQ is good, but as I wrote here, an intelligent quotient is a total score derives from a set of standards. An average person may have almost some IQ is an average level, but that doesn't determine our greatness. There is increasing awareness that emotional intelligence is important, if not the more important than success. Now, Daniel Goleman talked a little about emotional intelligence. I won't go to details about this. So if you look at EQ and IQ, EQ gets you through life, while IQ gets you through school. So if you have a good IQ, that does not guarantee you to succeed. You can be book smart, but strict dumb. And if you are strict dumb, you can make a success out of life. Now, there are many things here comparing IQ and EQ. I won't go into details about that. You see, I'm not talking about when you have emotional intelligence and IQ, the curve rises to a particular point. But if you have EQ, it rises you to a higher point. If you combine both, you go even more higher. Let's not worry about the other things about it. The problem is this: the limbic system, where we process what comes to us from the spinal cord, and then the cortical part of us interprets it. If we do not take time to look at things in all its dimensions, we'll just be just like rigid people set in our minds, and will not be able to get things done. Now, the whole essence of emotional intelligence is that you must know yourself and you must know others. And on the basis of what you know about yourself, you relate to others. And that will give you a productive and effective life. Now, so for you to have a good emotional intelligence, you have personal competence. And then personal competence will make you to self-manage yourself. And then if you have social competence, you're able to manage others. How is result driven? For you to be a leader, it is result that speaks. When a leader begins to give other reasons, it's not a successful person. You make him a commissioner, you make him a president, and he says that he didn't know there was not a problem. That's what he did feel. You see, there are two kinds of people in this world. One which I call them those who always give excuses, and then those who produce results. Those who give excuses, they suffer from excusitis, the inflammation of the excuse. No matter what happens, they are always giving excuse. And then those who want to have a way through, they get a solution. Lack of time, not enough money, and everybody has those excuses. But you find one person who is in a situation in life, in a worse situation, and yet he excels. Then S is strategic planning. They say if you don't plan to succeed, invariably you plan to fail. So leaders must plan to succeed. A strategy is a plan of action or policy designed to achieve a major moral goal. Let's look at example like you want to marry or you propose to someone. I want you to be my wife. I want to be my husband. Ask what is your plan for marriage? What strategic plan do you want? You know, I want to be a doctor. What's your strategic plan? I want to be a consultant. What's your plan? We are not here for eternity. We're only here for a short time. If you don't have a plan, you're going to make it. You have to work out the strategy we have that plan. So, what is the strategy? I wrote STR, clear scope. Where are you going? 2, right timing. 3, realistic resourcing. 4, strong alignment with your values. T, clear targets. E, crush execution. And G, forest goals. And then U, engages you. Now, people have found out that you can't make a success in life without plotting your present age to the point when everybody dies. By the time people are turning to their 70s, sometimes 60s, you know, every diminishing return returns. So your productive years are very narrow. So if you don't strategically plan, you can just keep working and working and working and working without plan. In many great nations of the world, by 50, 55, people have retired from their present job to take a more creative and enhancing job. So people are still working, they are still earning salaries, but they don't exactly know what quality of life they need. They want more money, but there's no quality of life to show for it. So plot your own life, plot your own destiny, and ask yourself, is my life getting better? Now, by asking yourself this question, where are you? You know, where do you want to go? How do you measure progress? What changes have been made? How would those changes be made? I want to tell you that the greatest discovery of my lifetime is the word called meditation, which I knew while I was still in secondary school. Now, most modern people call it mindfulness. And one great man says, mind is not worth living. So you must sit down with yourself from time to time and ask very pertinent questions. Where am I going? What am I doing? Where am I heading to? And that is mindfulness. Another. So, not about where you don't have when you don't see that many people about you, not only the people that can teach, you don't see. The next thing is to harness the potential of the team. Recently, someone asked me, what is the most important decision a man can make to succeed in life? Years ago, someone wrote a book. We said there are 3 decisions that are important in people's life. The first one is who you are going to live your life for. That has to do with your religious decision. The second thing is who you are going to live your life with. That's marriage. The third one is what you are going to live your life in. That is your career. Now, many social scientists, not many of them are religious, believe that the greatest decision you can ever make in this life is who you are going to live your life with. 70% of people are unsuccessful, not because their partners are wrong, because their partners are wrong for them. Now, but the question I tell people is this: no partner is actually born right. So even if you have the best partner, you have to work out your marriage realistically. And so if you are going to succeed, you must get people in the team who believes in you and who you believe in to make a success. And so even in many establishments, some leaders have very people who are appointed as leaders, but they also have a nucleus of people who they call are close to them. I'm a pastor of a church, and we have all kinds of things. We have all our ministers and so on. But for over 20, 30 years, I have been called people that I pray with every Friday. Now, there are things I can say to them that I can't say to them. They don't have the portfolio, somehow. But I'm aligning with them because we synchronize. You can understand me not because I'm a pastor, but because I'm a human being. And they're ready to support me. That's how life is. A leader must have that kind of people around him. And an increasing concentric circle, the most intimate, gradual. Somebody can also form teams of various kinds. But no leader can succeed when he is thinking alone, when he is working alone. If you are working alone, you are not a leader. As somebody said, you are taking a stroll. A team is a collection of people who work together to achieve a common goal. A team is destined as two or more working cooperatively to achieve a common goal. Teams is a team, complementary, chemistry, working together. Now, I see that there are 4 things or something for a team. A team has a strategy. They give themselves positive feedback. They initiate. They define roles. They are interdependent and they take action. I've seen people say that I'm good at working alone. I really have never seen a great person who is good at working alone. You must find a team. You must find a mentor. I wrote a book about mentorship, which many of our senior colleagues have what I call it, most of them have given reviews on it. And I found out that you can't actually really be great, but you have mentors across the spectrum. Because people have lived in this world long before you. And they face the problems you are facing, which is original to you. So mentors guide, lead, but mentorship is not parasitic. You don't go to somebody because you want to get out of him. Mentorship is about his bi-directional. As people mentor you, you also mentor them. And sometimes mentorship can be reverse mentorship. The mentee grows up and starts to mentor his mentor. Now, let me say that. 2 heads are better than 1. I like your audience. Make me remember you like UK. Because in UK, you know, everybody doesn't talk. So but there's other places everybody be clapping. So it's good. 2 heads are better than 1. That's true. That's made by one of the wisest people on earth. So if 2 people are together, they're better than 1. One is integrity. Integrity is the defining factor of leadership. When a man doesn't have integrity, he's not a leader. And now I've been an editor of a journal for over 8 years. And that's the history of that journal that has been the highest time anybody has been there. I'm not saying I have integrity, but if I don't do things with integrity, I just get my friends to get it. But actually, I have sent an article to that journal, my own, which many reviewers have sent back and I had to review several times, but never knew I was there. Because if somebody says that anytime you enter a plane, if you want to know the plane is reliable, go to the toilet first. He said an aircraft that cannot take off its toilet cannot take off its engines. So integrity is not in the big things you do. It's in the small things you do every day and you do it well. Somebody who tells lies in little things will eventually tell lies in big things. So everything falls on integrity. Integrity is the continuity between 2 or more parts integrated together. Integrity is consistency in what you say and what you do. You know, to me, if a person doesn't have integrity, everything falls flat. Being the most pretty woman on this set, don't have integrity, you will destroy your marriage. Being the richest man in this world, you don't have integrity, you will destroy your nation. So it's not just being good at what you are, but it's being good in your principles. In reading the lives of great men, and this was something made by Helen Truman, I found out that the first victory they won was over themselves. Self-discipline, and all of them come first. You can't win over yourself, you can't win over anybody. Now, what do we call integrity? Integrity is like an iceberg. What you are seeing about me like that I'm presenting, I came here for accreditation. But my core being, you don't see. What drives my action, you don't see. The motive of why I'm doing this lecture, you don't see. So integrity is not what you are on the outside, it's what you are on the inside. And you will not always be the best person to assess your integrity. Over time, people will know when you cut corners, when you can sell yourself to be able to do things. Somebody says integrity is not zigzag, flattery, deceit, scheming, harassment. No. Be who you say you are. Be true to who you are. It's no point trying to be somebody else. Integrity doesn't mean you are dead. Integrity is something that can be progressive, formative. As you meet people, as you meet with life, you want to get better than you are. Now, research was shown among the 54,000 managers all over the world. And almost everyone concluded that the greatest thing needed for success is integrity. Whenever somebody is put in a leadership position and he doesn't have integrity, mark my words, he will not succeed. Whenever I see politicians send posters, how does this man have integrity? Nothing will. And so keep on waiting till millennium for a nation and people to change. You can never, because a man with integrity will skew everything towards himself and will never take the interests of people in mind. All leadership failures are character failures. 90%. Perseverance. We're coming towards the end now. You can never be a leader till you learn to persevere. Till you go through things and keep pushing. Till you fall and not mend it. Till you have what I call it stick-to-itiveness. People say that the postage stamp is good because it sticks to the envelope till it gets to the destination. Somebody said that greatness is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. But I believe it's 99% perseverance. Look around all the people in the world. They failed many times and they persevere. Now, I wrote a book on grit, Angela Dropwood, and he found out that grit, he defines it as firmness of character, and persevering and passion for long-term goals. I was talking to your resident yesterday, and I said there was a research in which people gave some people to run in a particular, they gave them an assignment to achieve a particular goal. But some people started by walking very fast and fast, but before they could get to the goal, they were gone. But some other set of people sat down and they wrote plans, daily plans, weekly plans. And they kept on going on and going on and going on and going on until at the end of the day they succeed. So perseverance is cooling it. You fail, doesn't really matter. You make mistakes, doesn't matter. You lose, doesn't matter. But you keep pushing. You keep pushing. I always believe that greatness is coming to the breaking point and not breaking. Just keep on going until you get there. Now, don't found that challenges the conventional wisdom that you need to be talented. But he said, look, what makes you great is your passion and your perseverance. Now, she did a lot of research to document that. So it's not innate ability that makes you succeed. It is your push, it's your persevering, it's your going on. There is no profession in this world. If you don't persevere, you can't get there. Now, this was the man called Abraham Lincoln. When I finished medical school, the first book I read after I got my graduation was the biography of this man. It was a big volume. And to me, it's one of the greatest American presidents, if not the greatest. Abraham Lincoln, failed in many things. He failed in business. He was defended in Senate legislator. His fiancée died. He had neighbors breakdown, and he ran for Congress and lost. He ran for Senate and he didn't do well. He ran for vice president and he didn't work. His wife died of a medical condition. He buried his two of his 4 beloved sons, but man later became American president. So don't tell us your problems. Tell us how you are passionate about solving those problems. Don't tell me about your difficulties. Everybody has difficulties. Don't say, look, my father has no money. I am sick. No. God created you in this world to solve the problem you have got. Solve them. Persevere. Thomas Edison. The mother was told that your Thomas Edison cannot make resources. It's a moron. And the man asked, did an experiment 10,000 times and failed. And yet Thomas Edison was the one that gave us the electric bulb. Now, this is what one grant says. Everyone has a superstition. One of mine has always been, when I started to go anywhere or do anything, never to turn back or to stop until the intended intention is accomplished. Bulldog tenacity. So you hold on to your talents. Keep pursuing it. Keep pursuing it. Several years ago, I gave a talk in a school, in a university. And then when I finished giving that talk, a lady came weeping and weeping in front of me. He said, I've done the dismissed from the medical school. He said, I've done the exam 2 times, going. And I looked at her, you still want to do medicine? I said, okay, no, if you have small to do medicine, it's okay. There's so many medical schools. There were very few medical, but there are so many medical schools. Go back. Go back to square one. Go and do your jam again. Go and do your exam. Years later, I go back. Later in the medical school. But when we back, that's why I was examining students and she looked to me. We are also concerned now. It doesn't. It's not really matter. Anybody who does not have failure hasn't got experience. You want somebody who has a failure to cancel somebody's struggle. You want somebody who has never had it okay. So people think it's very admirable to say, I've never had problem, I've never been sick. It's very false. So you cannot take people to a road you are never traveled. So failure is God trying to get your attention and trying to modify your gifts, put you to your destination. We can't round up this session without talking about the differences between a leader and manager. I'm closing up now. Now, a leadership mindset is about goal setting. It's about outcome. It is about results. Just as I was telling Grace yesterday, I said you can write a good program, clinical meeting, clinical pathological review, clinical radiological review. But what is the essence of those things? The essence of those things is to know certain things. You can go to your house and say you have read for 12 hours, but you cannot remember anything. Useless. So you must always have that. So leaders are always saying, what is the goal? What do I have in mind? What do I want to achieve? But a manager mindset is about structure. It's about organizing, it's about resources, it's about tasks. Now, let me tell you, it's good to be a manager. It's good to say, let everybody come early. Let us run a roster. But everybody can come early. Everybody can come with a roster, but there are no solution. That's not the mindset you want. You need to combine the manager mindset with the leadership mindset. But leadership is about destination. Leadership is about making it happen. Leadership is about results. Leadership is not about, oh, I woke up in the morning, I did this, I ironed my clothes, I did this. No, what is the essence? My managers tend to micromanage, but leaders tend to macromanage. They know that some things can be proved, some things can be actually done, so they can get at their destination. Now, there are many things I'm written here about leaders and managers. I will not talk about that because our time is gone. Leaders are people-oriented. Sometimes managers are just role-driven. Leaders look at long-term growth and transformation. Managers look at short-term stability and productivity. Leaders inspire and influence. Managers tend to control. Leaders believe they can create a budget for their goal. Managers believe it's their budget that will determine their goal. Leaders can get water out of a rock. Managers would rather kick out the rock and look for another opportunity. When you put a leader in a place that is not motivated, it motivates. When you put a manager there, he's not happy. You don't want a leader who will tell you your problems. You want a leader who will solve your situation. Now, there's a lot of books I've written, quite a lot, on leadership, on effective management, and then you can have access to them at discount prices. I will not conclude this statement by saying this. I want you to start now, as well as the young ones, to start thinking as a leader. Don't just think like a manager, not bureaucratically. I want you to ask yourself continuous question: where am I going? How am I going to achieve? I want you to be a possibility thinker, not a problem highlighter. I want you to believe that you can be what you should be. I want you to know that your responsibility is not inherited in somebody else, but in yourself and God. I want you to follow what Abraham Lincoln advised the Americans. Do not think of what your nation can do for you, but think of what you can do for your nation. I have not stopped believing that my nation will change. I have not stopped believing that the prophecies that things will change will happen. 1976, when I was entered the medical school, I heard about all those symbols. I heard about all those prophecies. I heard about all those dreams and visions. People sang songs about how the country will change and become the leading country in the world. In 2025, Nigeria is worse than 1976. Problem is, we think the change will come from somebody. Any change that's going to happen in your life, you have created that change. So don't sit down every day waiting for you to get a handout. Stay where you are. Put your hand on the plow and plow to get your destination. Thank you.
Please, if you're still sitting, you're wrong. Child Joseph and sponsor. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Say be the change so that you can get the change. Am I speaking to somebody? He said you need to be the change so that you can get the change. You see, Prof is a very smart and wise man. When we were reading his citation, I discovered that Prof got an award in Arsenal. So when he opened his foundation, he opened his foundation Arsenal chest. Because Arsenal no go collect league. So he decided to merge Arsenal and Chelsea so that his chest will be at peace. You understand? You get the point now? So Prof has plan A, B, and what? You may even discover very soon you see that Real Madrid is in his plan. For those of you watching football, so I won't get that attack. Please, we want to, at this point in time, entertain questions. Thank you very much, sir. And want to say that it was a wonderful time. Well, when you were giving your lecture, almost everybody has been signaling me. Slide, 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 slide. This is the first time people come and they sat down and were listening without doing one kind. Even some of the people that used to walk out, they didn't walk out. Please, we're just going to take questions by raising up your hands. We'll count, then we'll take the questions.
Give me a cook.
Please, if you have tokiphobia, please just write it down. I know it's not in the dictionary, don't worry. Write it down. We'll collect your questions so that Prof can address them quickly, because we know we all have things to do to save us time. If you have a question, let me see your hands. For those that cannot stand up to ask a question, please just write it down. We'll come to you. The ushers will get the questions from you and we'll address them. If you have a question, let me see your hands. I'll count, and after that, we'll close it. Anybody with a question? Okay, one, sir. Any other person? Any other person? Okay. Please come to the front.
Thank you very much, sir. Permit me to start on the necessary question. I want to ask, if a situation in which the followers are demoralizing the leader, how will the leader be able to carry out? Demoralize? Yes, by the followers.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm sure the reason why many questions are not coming is because the issues and way you presented them were very, very clear, down to earth, very well understood and all that. But I know very well there should be a follow-up. So I want to request that maybe you can give us the way we can help you. I know very well that many years back, when some schools have their problems that they were sending their students to Ife to that MDCA and eventually get them pass the exams. We used to direct some of them to you, some of them today because of the advice they got from you. Many of them are in different places. And I know very well that this meeting that has come up today, by divine arrangement, because it was not altogether impossible that the West African College of Physicians would have sent somebody else for this accreditation as the team lead. And the person will come, do the official work, of course, and by the close of the game today, possibly leave. But God in his infinite mercies
has ensured that you won't leave this team. I went out of the way to arrange it. So I strongly believe that what we have here today is meant for a number of people. And beyond this, of course, there should be follow-up. So you can give us your so then the second one is well, we're talking about the slides and how we can get them, go through this thing, meditate over them again, either by soft copy, whatever we want to. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Prof, if there is one person I know that needs that contact, is our NDCAN chairman, because he also writes books. Thank you, sir, for your presentation, sir. I know somewhere in this slide it talks about changing from the cans to the I can. How feasible is it? Because I know people that have tried to change from the I can't to the I can, and yet still remain in the I can't, and they are able to make progress in their lives. Are there other things they should do? Okay. Any other person? Okay. Well, the first question is, in a situation where the followers demoralizes the leader, how will the leader carry on?
I want to say something what going to say. Please, I don't know if you are here, just write, everybody should write his name, his email, and his phone number. So when this here now, because we have problem with our system, has to be really done properly. So if you send me your emails, I can integrate you and see how I can get that to you. So let somebody pass that to me. I was very busy in my religious activities, very, very busy, doing a lot of things. And many people told me during my